Professor Akram here, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to get started with Unity. And we are talking getting started at the very beginner level. We're going to go through the process of actually choosing which Unity license to pick, creating your Unity ID, downloading the Unity Hub, and actually starting up the Unity editor in a new project. So when you first come to unity.com, you will see this landing page, their homepage, and it has a lot of information. Now, if you have never used Unity, never had it installed, the first place you want to go is the Get Started link here. And this will actually take you to the licensing page and show you the different licenses that Unity has. And as you can see here, there are the personal option, which is free. This is really great for students and hobbyists and people who are just getting started with Unity, just wanting to learn some of the basics, maybe make a few indie games and get their feet wet. But then there are the Plus version, Pro version, and Enterprise version that all offer different tiers of features and functionality. And again, this table kind of outlines what you get with each of the different licenses. For us, we're going to be looking obviously at the personal license. Now, if you are a student, you're going to want to look right down here where it says get the free student plan. So if I go to the student plan page, this gives us more information on the benefits of the student plan. So the student plan is essentially the free version with some little extra add-ons. So if we scroll down here, one of the things that we'll see is cloud builds and cloud collaboration. Those are some of the main features of the student plan. In Unity, you have the option to share your file with different individuals through a cloud collaboration service. And the free plan only allows you, I believe, 3 individuals to share your projects with. The student plan has that bumped up to 5 to accommodate the typical number of students within a student group when they're working on a group project. So the cloud collaboration is a little bit extra with the student plan. Another big element of the student plan is the free assets. So the student plan automatically comes with a bunch of free assets for you to get started with your project quickly. Now, that's not to say that the free plan doesn't have the opportunity to do the same. There are a lot of free assets out there that anybody can download and utilize through the Unity Asset Store. But when you're using the student plan, Unity has curated a set of free assets for students to get them up and running a little bit quicker. So those are some of the main features of the student plan. Now, to get access to the student plan, you have to register with GitHub. So if I go over to GitHub over here, GitHub is a version control application that allows you to collaborate with others and keep track of all changes in a project, in a large scale project like game development. But one of the things that GitHub has is they do a credentials check on students because they have their own student verification and student features and things like that. So they have an option where you create an account with GitHub and then send in a copy of your student ID. They will verify it, and then on the GitHub student developer pack, you can come down here and then link up your account to Unity. This will automatically tell Unity, yes, GitHub has verified you as a student, and then from there you can come back and get access to the student pack. So there are different options depending on what you're doing. The access to GitHub and connecting for the student pack, I would say that it was probably not more than 24 hours turnaround time. So that is an option if you want to get all the assets that come with the student pack. Otherwise, if we go back to our licenses here, you can get started right away with the personal licensing option. And even if you get the personal licensing option, you can still apply for the student assets and then just download those when you get access to them. Once you decide which license you want, if you're going to go with the personal plan, you're going to hit Get Started. And that is going to take us to the Get Started with Unity page. And there are two options here: a returning user if you've used Unity before, or if you are a first-time user. Now, if you are a first-time user and you click Start here, it's automatically going to start downloading the Unity Hub installer. And we're actually going to go through the Unity Hub installer here in a minute, but it's going to run that installation, or it's going to run the download, and then we're going to run the installation here in a minute. But another feature that you're going to want to do, now you can do this from the Unity Hub, but since you're already on the website, one of the things that you're going to want to do is come up to this little profile icon, and you're going to want to create a Unity ID. And that's going to take us to this page here, and you're going to want to fill out this information. This links all your projects and information within Unity. So you do have a little bit of cloud space where you can share projects, as I mentioned earlier. If you're uploading projects to the Unity Play, which is sort of a portfolio site for everybody developing in Unity, you can also get access to the Unity Asset Store, the Unity Learn tutorial platform, all with having a Unity ID. And so you're going to want to sign up for that. Another nice little feature is that you can actually just sign in with either your Google or Facebook or Apple ID, and you can kind of skip through this application process simply by logging in with one of the other items. So with that said, let me go back over here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit Get Start here, and we're going to download the Unity Hub installer. Once you have downloaded the Unity Hub installer, we're going to go ahead and run it. I'm just in my downloads folder. Go ahead and say yes, allow the app to make changes. There is the Unity Terms of Service, basically just telling you more information about the license and that you agree to their terms. I'm going to say yes, I agree. And then you're going to choose where you want to install your application. I'm going to be installing mine on the D drive. So now we have the Unity Hub up and running, and the first thing you're going to see is the Unity installation wizard that's going to have us install the latest LTS or long-term support version of Unity. And we're going to install this again in the D drive under my Programs Unity folder. And before it does that, it's going to come in here and it's going to ask us to create a Unity ID if we have not already, or if we already have one, we can use it, or I'm just going to log in with Google. Now that I've logged into Unity through the Unity Hub, you can see down here at the bottom, it's actually downloading Unity in the background, but it's asking me to get started with my first project. And Unity is really great for beginners because it comes with what they call micro games to help you get started making a game from scratch. So you have everything from the latest one, which is their Lego Microgame, to an FPS shooter game, a karting game, and a generic platformer game. Or you could start a project from complete scratch. There are different options here, obviously, as to what you want to do. If you are a complete beginner, I recommend that you start with one of the micro games. They have some very well put together tutorials and allow you to kind of walk through the process of building the game. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Lego micro game here, and I'm just going to leave the project name as my first game. And you can name this whatever you want. Keep in mind that Unity does not create a single file. It actually creates a folder full of assets, resources, multiple files and libraries and everything. So this project name is actually the name of the folder in which the project is going to reside. So I'm going to hit continue here. Now, if you are using the Lego Microgame, the first thing it's going to ask you is your birthday. I believe, if I understand correctly, they give you a birthday present in the asset store whenever you download the Lego microgame. And I believe that is what that is for there. You do also have to be 13 years and older to get a hold of the Unity editor. Just for licensing purposes, they want to make sure that their users have parental permission and so forth. So that is one of the other elements to the microgames. And so again, this is just telling you that all the content of the Lego microgame is also a copyright trademark of Lego. So I'm going to agree and hit continue. And here we have a little demo showing you some of the elements of Unity. We're still in the process of actually downloading Unity at the minute, so we're only at 72%. And once this wraps up, we're going to actually launch Unity and get into the editor. Alright, so our Unity installation is complete. It says now to launch Unity. I'm going to press this button and it's going to load up Unity. And this may take a few moments for Unity to fully boot up and load. And now the Unity editor has fully loaded and our Lego microgame is in the editor. Before I give a brief overview of the microgame and how to navigate through Unity, let me just quickly show you the Unity Hub. So if I come over to my taskbar here and do Unity Hub, this loads up the Unity Hub. And I've actually been using Unity for a while, so I've got a couple of different projects in my project queue. If you have loaded this up with just the micro game to start off with, you might just see my first game here. And you will also see the Unity version number. So I have created projects with previous versions of Unity, and you can see the little caution icon is indicating that I don't currently have that version installed on my computer. To see what versions of Unity you've actually got installed or install a different version of Unity, you can go over to your Installs tab down here at the bottom. And here you can see I've installed the 2020.31 F4F1, which is their current LTS or long-term support version. And that is the version that you're always going to want to make your development builds on. If you are just practicing or just wanting to get a sense for what's coming new, you can always install a beta version, but the LTS is the one that you're going to want to run if you know you're going to want to publish and fully develop your project. Now, I can install different versions of Unity. This is helpful, again, if you started a project with one version of Unity. Typically you don't want to change versions mid-development. Some things could get broken, especially if you're very close to completing the development of that project. So you're going to want to install the versions that you need for whichever project that you're working on. Now, one thing I will say, if you recall from when we installed the Unity Hub, I actually installed it on my D drive. By default, all your Unity installs are going to be on the C drive unless you tell it otherwise. So before I install any of my other editors, I'm going to go over to my settings here and make sure that it's actually going to my D drive. And it is, because when we installed 2020 through our hub installation, we told it to go to that location. So back in the installs, I can add a different install. It's already showing me I've got the latest greatest one, but some other long-term support ones is the 2019 4.2 and the 2018 4.3. However, I do believe at the end of 2021 is when they're going to stop the support for the 2018 version. So again, you can install these. You can also install the latest 2021 beta version that has some features that have not been completely tested or fully functional. So those are the options. Let's just assume that I want to install the 2019 version. If I hit next, it's going to ask me what type of support do I want to install. And you'll notice that I've previously have had versions installed, and with that I've always installed the Windows Build platform, the WebGL platform, and the Windows Support platform. Obviously, if you were developing for Mac, you might want the Mac support builds versus the window builds. Regardless of which one you're doing, you're always going to want the WebGL builds. This is the best format if you want to get your games out there to others in order to play test and actually play through the game. You can also choose to install the documentation, either the help manuals and such. It does take space on your hard drive, and a lot of it is online anyways, so I typically choose not to install the documentation except for the latest greatest version that I have installed, just to save room on my hard drive space. I'm going to close out of this and install different versions later, but in the Unity Hub we can go back to the projects tab. Again, these are all the projects that you have created. In mine, in this case, my first game. You can also go to the Learn tab. So just as I was saying earlier, I started a project with the Lego Microgame. You can go through the different ones. These are built-in projects that have built-in tutorials and assets already created for you. You can also go to the Tutorials tab and work through some tutorials, download their projects, and so forth. The best resource for Unity tutorials is going to be the learn.unity.com site, and there is a link to it right here on the Learn page. And then you also have the Community tab that has other locations to get help, the Unity blog, Unity forums, and so forth. So that is just a quick overview of getting started with the Unity Hub. And like I said before, when we first did our installation for the 2020 LTS, it asked us to start a project, and we started this My First Game. I'm going to close out of the hub here and return to the Unity editor. And here is our Lego game that we booted up when we first installed Unity. Now, when you first load this game, it will ask you whether you want to load the playground or whether you want to load the tutorials. And again, if you are a complete beginner to Unity, I highly recommend that you load the tutorials. And it's going to basically walk you through Unity. It's going to, in this case, it's already got this little section. It's sort of this interactive tutorial to get you started, and you can hit the start button, and then it tells you certain things to do, certain places to press, and what those do, and you go through the tutorial. And it is a great way to learn the interface, to learn how to move around Unity. And then once you complete all of the tutorials, you can actually go into the scene and refine and edit the game yourself. So again, I highly recommend going through the micro games, going through the tutorial. The Lego game is the latest version built for the 2020 platform, and it is an excellent resource for getting started with Unity. And that is basically it. You've created your Unity ID, you've downloaded the Unity Hub, you've run the installer, downloaded the latest LTS, and the next step in the process is to go through the microgames and go through the tutorials to get familiar with the Unity interface. I hope you found this lesson informative, and don't forget to check out other lessons and tutorials on the channel. So what are you waiting for? Get creative today!